Hello, hi there, gorgeous people. Do hope that you are all well, and welcome to my channel. This is your August love reading for if you're a Sagittarius. And if you're watching me for the first time, this is not a tarot reading. I'm a psychic, so I work with my spirit guides to give you information so that you can navigate through this month. Just before I crack on with your reading, because most of you know I just like to jump in there, just a few announcements. So as you're watching this in August, I am currently in the United States until about the 11th of September. So your YouTube videos for September will be late. So just bear that in mind if you're looking for your next readings from me in September as well. During the time I'm away, all the links are just down below, but the early services that I will be available whilst I'm on vacation will be my text service on my audio readings. Anyway, let's just get on with your reading for this month. What I've been noticing as I've been doing people's horoscopes is August feels very, very much around people trying to put their well-being first, their mental and emotional well-being first when it comes to their connections romantically. And you're no different. What feels to be a little bit different for you, because we're just coming out of the Mercury retrograde on the 31st of July, but it can sometimes have a shadow period just before and just after. And it feels like for you guys, the 10 days kind of after still are a little bit retrograde for you. So just bear that in mind still when it comes to contracts, technology, but also communications and how you feel about another person could be a little bit like that, bit down, because that's how you kind of start. I get a lot of you, again, nearly everybody I've been doing a reading for, the first kind of week in particular, they're doing a lot of reflecting. Yours is slightly different because there is reflecting, but it's highly negative. It's like it's like you're stuck in just looking at what isn't working. My guides are saying some of you, it's your husbands, your boyfriends, your partners. They're people that you're in a relationship with, so this is not necessarily people that you're wanting to be in a relationship with, but that's what's coming up heavy, that you're kind of really just disappointed, that you feel like that person doesn't love you, or perhaps you don't love them. You're making lots of judgments, but because it's retrograde energy, it means that it's much more magnified as you're looking at the negatives instead of, it's almost like you're forgetting the positives, so much so that it's like piling mud on top of each other, which is then hard to dig through to find the good stuff. I want to say to you guys, don't make a decision until maybe after the 10th of August, because it's unnatural energy that you'll be making a decision in, and it will change after that date. You won't feel like, it's almost like the veil lifts. You'll be like, I can see the good and I can see that. So that would be my recommendation. But just bear in mind that first week in particular, you feel kind of heavily thinking. Now, I tell you this because if you can think about that, you can kind of stop yourself from letting that shadow aspect of the retrograde affecting you so much. But again, my guide's saying some of you were considering divorces, like things like that. Some of you who are single are kind of, it's almost like you're really getting, like putting it on yourself, like, what's wrong with me? Why is that not happening? Why am I meeting the same people? Like having a little bit, if I'm being honest, and I can say this because I'm a Sagittarius as well, is having a little bit of a pity party. Like, don't do that. If you can, like, super be aware in a retrograde. I have to do it all the time when I'm in a retrograde to tell myself, what's communication when somebody says something to me that could get me prickly, like just pause and say retrograde, like, and not react quite as the retrograde wants you to. You're being asked to do that, particularly around making decisions that are quite big, like, do I want to be with this person? Please wait, and I'll tell you why. Second week should get easier, as the more we're in the shadow and it kind of weakens and weakens, it gets easier, but it's still there. I think some of you need a bit of a break from doing what you're doing, with whether you're single, like having a break from trying to date. If you're in a relationship, like having some space between you and the other person, I think would help. It is being suggested that maybe some of you need a break away together with that person to do something nice, but I kind of want to put that in the smaller end of things, that it feels that having just some space will actually help you also to have a bit of clarity. It's a bit like, particularly because I keep bringing a lot up about people who are living together, married, that type of thing, that is small things that are starting to annoy you, like she nags too much, or I'm fed up with them leaving, the washing clothes on the floor, like these things, like these small little things, like I said, are mounting up. Whereas if you can have some space you know, going away, staying with your parents, you know, just having space from doing things for the other person will also help you to maybe reflect better. Because as we go into the third week, mixed messages I'm getting from my guide. So there will be some of you, like I said, making your decision afterwards where you will be like, I just can't do it. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel restricted. I don't want to feel the way I'm feeling. That you will. Now, percentage-wise, it's coming up lower. So it's more like 30% of you will feel like that. Whereas the rest of you, like I said, the veil of this shadow retrograde ends. You start to see the effort from the other person. And I have to say, the effort has improved by the other person because they have noticed your distance from them and they've noticed your mood. And so they are making more efforts just naturally because they see it from you. But actually, it's until the third week that you actually start to see it, which then means you suddenly can start to dig through that mud and start to see the positives that are with that person. And it's like, you know, by the time you're at the end of the third week, you're feeling so much better about the connection than you was. So it's worth hanging in there for 70% of you, basically. As you get to the fourth week, again, because some of you are still like, you're there and you're enjoying it, but you're still a little bit guarded. But I do get here that you start to compromise, start to negotiate, start to share your feelings. It's well received. The person listens to you and understands, wants to make an effort. And it's repairable, completely repairable. I even have to say, for those of you in the third week, that 30% who feels like, I can't do it and I'm going to end it, I don't think it's completely over. I think that you'll say and do that. You may even have that kind of traumatic break for a few days. The fourth week, person wants to come back. You're a little bit guarded, but then they compromise. They say what what you need to say, and it's fixable. So, you know, I think that sometimes a retrograde, even though it's boggy, it can happen for a reason. It again, this whole month feels like about well-being. If you put, communicate basically, but later when you're not so messy, things can figure themselves out. It feels like in the end it works out for most of you, and I think that 30% by the time we get to the last week is more, maybe like 10% of you would then stay separated. But other than that, it feels very, very much like everything is repairable. So I hope that's helped you so that you can sort of navigate through this month. Please be aware around the sort of Mercury retrograde shadow aspects in your sign affecting you more than others. And don't make any decisions until after the 10th. I super hope that's been helpful for you all. And I'll be back again next month. A bit late, but I'll be there. Take care.